The North Sea wind struck Isla Thorsley the moment she stepped off the ferry, cold, sharp, and carrying something older than weather itself. The Orkney Islands stretched before her, a chain of rugged beauty sculpted by storms and carved by centuries of whispered stories. Her mother used to tell her that on these islands, history breathes. And today, Isla felt it. She came here searching for the roots of an old legend, but the land itself felt like it was studying her, as if deciding whether to reveal its secrets. The sky shifted with the weight of age, the stone circles standing like guardians of forgotten eras. The wind carried whispers that brushed against her neck. As she drove toward the remote cottage she'd rented, the feeling only deepened. The past wasn't gone here. It was watching. The shadow weavers were supposed to be a fringe myth, a footnote in obscure Orkney folklore. But the deeper Isla delved, the more unsettling the accounts became. A fisherman pulled her aside outside a Stromness pub. "I saw a shadow walk across the tide, lass. No body, just the shape o' one." An archivist in Kirkwall produced a brittle sketch from 1821, a tall, thin being made of twisted black strands. A schoolteacher whispered of shadows that don't follow rules. Isla recorded them all. One phrase came up again and again. "They are no ghosts. They are weavers. They shape misfortune." The shadow weavers were not spirits, not demons. Something woven from darkness and the island's own breath. They felt intentional, and far too aware. Isla began noticing them before she realized what she was seeing. At Maeshowe's entrance, she caught the tail of a dark shape slithering around the stone. At Skara Brae, her drone captured a figure standing motionless on a hill, arms slightly extended, as if feeling the direction of fate. In her cottage, she woke to her shadow, moving slightly after she'd already stood still. Once, she whispered, "Who's there?" And the shadow at her feet shifted, almost like a bow. She froze. She hadn't imagined it. Something was responding to her. Something woven from darkness. Determined to understand, Isla visited Orkney's sacred spaces. Maeshowe. Inside the tomb, runes scratched long after the Viking era whispered warnings. The Dark One waits. Her recorder caught a second voice she didn't hear in person, a low hum. Skara Brae. Ancient hearths whispered warmth, but outside, the shadows lengthened, even when the sun didn't move. Standing Stones of Stenness. A local historian explained quietly, "These stones are threads. The weavers move between them." Something clicked for Isla. The shadow weavers weren't haunting the islands. They were woven into the land's soul. Older than the stories. Older than the people. A primordial intelligence. And they had noticed her. Isla began dreaming vividly. Dreams of women in ancient dress weaving long strands of shadow between standing stones. One dream came clearer than all. A woman who looked like Isla. Same eyes. Same hands. She was weaving something. Binding something. Her voice whispered, "You carry the thread, Isla." When Isla awoke, the window was open. The moonlight cast her shadow on the wall. But the shadow's head was turned toward her. She felt tears prick her eyes. Was it fear? Or recognition? In the Kirkwall archives, Isla uncovered something extraordinary. A torn page from a forgotten saga. Written in Old Norn, it read, "Before the Norse came, before the first stones rose, The weavers shaped darkness. They held the world together. Until the woman who broke the loom. A woman. A weaver. A traitor? Isla's heartbeat quickened. Her mother's family line had come from Orkney. Was she somehow connected? She touched the page. For a moment, she heard whispering behind her. Soft. Urgent. Find the loom. When she turned, no one was there. The abandoned island of Maeshowe had long been associated with fairies, demons, and disappearances. Isla crossed over with a local boatman who refused to approach the shore. She waded through the cold surf and explored the ruins alone. There, she met an old man with eyes like the deep sea. He introduced himself only as the keeper. "You're looking for truth," he said. "Few do. Fewer can bear it." She nodded nervously. "Are the shadow weavers real?" He studied her. Then he lifted a hand. Isla gasped. His shadow, detached from him. It moved on its own, writhing, bending, shaping itself. "Shadow weavers," he said softly, "are neither spirit nor man. They are the first shape the world ever learned to make." "Why are they watching me?" "Because," he whispered, "you're one of them. Or rather, you could be." Her blood stopped cold. The keeper explained. "The weavers do not weave cloth. They weave reality, luck, memory, dreams, fear, shadow." Isla's voice trembled. "Why me?" "Because your ancestor broke the first loom," he said. "She severed a shadow weaver's bond to the land. And now they want you to finish her work. Or undo it." The island wind roared. Her shadow stretched across the stones, longer than it should. A second, smaller shadow grew beside it. Not hers. Watching. When Isla returned to the mainland, testimonies flooded in. A fisherman who saw shadows crawl across the waves. A child who said her shadow whispered her name. A woman who dreamed of dark figures weaving storms. A man who swore the weavers predicted his wife's death days before it happened. Each story carried the same chilling undertone. The shadow weavers weren't evil, but they were not compassionate either. They were inevitable. Like suffering. Like fate. Like the tides. And they were growing stronger. Isla discovered that some weavers, known as black weavers, wove misfortune deliberately. These were the most feared. They distorted reality, bent shadows into curses, turned fear into form. A rune-carved stone retrieved from a dig site described their work. They pull from the darkness between worlds. They twist what lies in the hearts of men. Isla wondered what lay in her heart, and if they could see it. And flickered. Shadows rippled across the walls in patterns, weaving, looping, forming a loom made of living darkness. Her breath caught. The whispers came as one voice. Finish what she began. Her ancestor had broken a bond. The shadow weavers demanded a repair. Isla backed away. But her shadow didn't move with her. It stood perfectly still, watching her. Then, it lifted its arm, as if beckoning. Back at her cottage, Isla rewatched her footage. Her voice trembled. In every clip from Maeshowe, she appeared distorted, slightly doubled. Her shadow lagged behind her as if unsure. Then she noticed something horrifying. A second shadow followed her in every location. Sometimes far away. Sometimes inches behind her. She shut her laptop with a cry. Deep in her chest, sorrow bloomed. The same sorrow she felt the night her mother passed. Had her mother known? Had she kept Isla away from Orkney to protect her from this fate? Isla whispered into the darkness. "Mum, what did you hide from me?" A cold wind brushed her cheek. A whisper answered, "The truth." Isla returned to Aenhallow. The keeper was waiting, grave and weathered. "She was the woman in your dream," he said before she spoke. "The one who broke the loom. The one who refused to let the weavers choose her fate." "My great-grandmother." He nodded. "She cut their bond. By doing so, she cut the thread of Orkney itself. You feel the tear inside you, don't you?" Tears blurred Isla's vision. "Yes. It's your inheritance." "And if I refuse?" she whispered. The keeper touched her shoulder. "Then the weavers will finish weaving you." A pause. "And you will never return to the world unchanged." At the ring of Brodger, under a moon carved with cloud, Isla faced the shadow weavers. Dozens of them. Tall silhouettes woven from night. Silent. Patient. They formed a circle around her. Her shadow peeled from her feet and joined them. A voice, deep as the ocean floor, echoed. "Daughter of the broken thread, will you mend what was torn? Or join those who weave in darkness?" Isla stood trembling. She could feel her ancestors' courage in her bones. She could feel Orkney's breath in her chest. She lifted her lantern. "No," she whispered. "I choose neither. I choose my own thread." A wind like a scream tore across the circle. The weavers recoiled. Her shadow split, separating the weaver's part from her own. Light burst from her lantern like a star. The darkness retreated. The loom shattered, and the weavers dissolved into wind. At dawn, Isla stood alone among the stones. The wind was soft now, not watching, only carrying memories. Her shadow stretched normally behind her. But, when she moved, it hesitated for the slightest moment. Not threatening, just acknowledging. A bond remained. A thread untied, not cut. She whispered into her recorder. "The shadow weavers are not gone. They are part of the world, and perhaps part of us. If you come to Orkney, don't be surprised if your shadow lingers a little too long." A final whisper brushed her ear. "We remember you." Isla exhaled. She wasn't afraid. Not anymore. Because some myths don't vanish. They simply go home.